Hey guys, I'm going to do this real time. I just had a situation where we're trying to get an inspection right, and I think it's going to work out well. We have really an ideal situation where you have the seller's intentions are positive, and the buyer's intentions are positive. So we just had a situation where you kind of can hear what someone's saying and you can take them at their word, but I want to let you know what resources are out there. So in this case, there's a situation where I have to I'm taking the word of the seller about a situation, but we have so many resources here in Colorado Springs, in El Paso County, that can help you verify information. So a couple of things that came up, and one thing I want to advocate is having communication is crucial. So I'm working with a phenomenal listing broker, and I'm working with phenomenal buyer's agent, and I am trying to get a resolution in place, and we're trying to do it relatively quickly, only because it's, everything has timestamps. So communication is crucial, so I want to go ahead and do that. The other one is for any type of thing, anything that was in the property that needed to be permitted, it should be on regional building. So if there is an item that should be permitted, for example, a water heater or install of an AC, that permit should be pulled by the person doing the installation. If you have a situation, which I did last year, I had a situation where that installer did not pull the permit. When we contacted the company who did the installation, guess what we found out? They had the paperwork. They understood. They have the history on it. They have the receipts on everything, right? So what we had was a situation where it was just an oversight, administrative oversight. Sometimes people change companies, or companies may merge, and you lose paperwork that way. In this case, it is verifiable. If the Pikes Peak Regional Building does not have the information, there are protocols to getting the information. So don't pull back from that. That's very important. It'd be, like I said, HVAC. It'd be the AC of the HVAC. It could be the heating system that was put in. It could be the hot water heater, any of those things. So then another point, I'm just going here to my notes. So the code compliance. So we want to make sure for your buyer specifically, you want to make sure you as a buyer are covered, that anything that should have been coded or permitted should do that. I'm thinking about several years ago where the basement had been finished by this modular system by Corning, and it looked great, but it was not permitted. The client, who was not my client, I was representing the listing, they were that mindset that they wanted to permit it. We also had a situation, in that same situation, that the in order to get it done properly, it will require a very intrusive act on the basement area. So what we had to go do is get a variance, request a variance. So I came to the variance hearing and did everything that I needed to do there. What I'm saying is here, when things need to be coded, if you are a buyer, you want to make sure that the permits have been pulled, because my concept is someone at some point is going to pay for that permit. Someone at some point is going to pay for that permit. So you're acquiring the house on today, and you may go, I'm not going to worry about it. However, you need to worry about it, because once you're ready to sell, you may get, like I told you about that buyer from years ago who was crucial. It was key to him that everything be I's dotted, T's crossed, right? So we want to make sure that happens. Documentation and transparency is the other key thing that happened. Taking pictures, making sure you have pictures to relate to the selling side. This is what you're seeing. And when you do inspections, good inspection companies will do pictures. In this case, I went in and did more pictures and more video to provide for my client, the buyer, right before we wrote up our objection. So we were sound and anticipate from that seller in a response. We were very sound, and although we still proceeded to pursue something from the seller, we were confident that whichever way they went, we're probably going to be okay. And that's just because we take pictures, we go and evaluate, and we want to have a detailed records. And then flexibility and mutual understanding. If the seller seems thorough and willing to do and address concerns, that's saying they're respecting the process. They're not just dissing you, and I just showed my age by saying dissing you. They're not dissing you. They really do want to respect the process. So we want to make sure that as we're doing these inspections, that we're prioritizing safety and code, so that if you're on the buyer side, the seller knows that you're just not saying, I don't like the paint color, I don't whatever. You are looking at structural code-based things, and you're going from there. And then on the seller side, when they're reading this, they realize as you as a buyer, you're confident that these things are supported. I can go to regional building and I can find supporting information that this needs to be a certain way. The key is open dialogue, professional assessments, and just the shared goal of resolving the inspection items effectively and efficiently. Okay, so I feel like this was something to share with you because regional building, I gave them a call. I talked to them about the different things. I went on their site trying to find the written, the holy grail of the information, and they were resources, and it allows my client to go back stronger in what they're. So what the whole summation of this is that it is really important to do your due diligence, and there's resources out there to help you do your due diligence effectively where you're confident, especially if you're a buyer, you're confident. Now, when you're if you're listing the home, you're the homeowner and the seller, and your broker, listing broker, Reatha, says to you, hey, let's go get that permitted. It's not to send, throw money out there. It's just for you to really just tighten up any potential objection the buyer may have. On the buyer's side, as a buyer's agent, I'm looking out for my buyer to say, hey, you do not want to be caught holding the bag when you're ready to sell. Okay, so all of this stuff is important. My name is Reatha Butler. I'm here to help, and more important, I'm here to help you real estate confidently in any market. I'm your resource here in Colorado Springs. Reach out, ask a question. I'm here. Take care and have a great day.